Okay, our shout out today goes to Blast Entertainment and Peter Abang. And yes, welcome everyone. If you like what we do here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the content. And yeah, with that, we're going to be reviewing the movie Japa. Okay, so what can I say? So Japa is a Nollywood movie, so Nigerian-based movie, and it it came out, I believe, came out this year, and it started quite a couple of interesting. It had an interesting cast. However, did they deliver a good movie? Let's review it. To start with, the initial, I think there's a big problem with story writing. We need more story writers in the Nollywood industry. We need a ton of what do you call it, story writers, because I know story writing is not easy, right? I know writing book stories, they are not really easy. Yeah, and speaking about books, I'm almost done. Like I said, writing is not easy, so I'm almost done. I'm putting in quite a lot of efforts to make sure that the book comes out cool and interesting enough. So yeah, it takes a lot of work to write and get a proper art delivered. So Jacques started with a nice premise, right? Started with a good idea. This guy trying to leave the country, he didn't have resources, then tried to steal money and all of that. Okay, to start with, let's look at the realism. So many things are not just right in the movie. I've not seen anybody that is jackpotting, quote unquote, out of the country, and he's going to sell his vehicle that day, he's going to fly. I've never seen it. You prepare, you prepare, this, because I don't get, why is it that you're trying to sell a vehicle on the day of your flight? That's like urgent sale. You're not going to get any useful money from that. You sell under panic or desperate sales. So it didn't really work well. Then let's even still look into realism. So they went into a time loop. I'm not even supposed to get to the loop part, but they went into a time loop, right? And the time loop for the guy starts every day in the morning, waking up. And the time loop for the girl also starts every day in the morning, waking up. But the time loop for Zico, which I believe is his name, the protagonist sort of, starts with him walking to the car and being beaten by insects. This same insect also beats the guy and the lady in talk of, but they don't wake up, or the loop doesn't start for them at the point where they were about to be beaten by the insect. It starts a regular day on the bed, and they made it look like Zico's loop actually started from the day, the point where he was being beaten by an insect, which doesn't make any sense. Then coming into story writing, at a point you start asking yourself, how does this movie translate to the concept of Japa? How does it even translate? Because we moved from Japa, the next thing we started here was Ominala. Now, with respect to the Nigerian culture, African culture generally, we understand the concept, we understand what you're trying to do, but how does it translate to Japa, the concept of Japa? Then we now had a situation whereby the insects point you to who you should help in order to reverse the Ominala, which I will leave it to my Igbo brothers to tell us how the Ominala can be reversed, if there's anything like that, considering the insects are the sort of object of balance and order. How do they reverse it? Do you reverse it by the insect pointing you to who you should do good from? It became a thing of mockery. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you know what? Again, I don't like. It's the same thing we saw in the Dead Serious. Started the story making a whole lot of sense. Then all of a sudden, you decided to introduce or bring it into a Nollywood concept of Hollywood concept of movie where they had time loops, right? And now you had a time loop, but now your loop is some sort of Ominala, and now this Ominala idea is now being just. I think if they had gone into details to really understand how to reverse the concept of the Ominala issue, then it would have been making so much sense. But you guys didn't. I'm not sure they did so much in researching how, and the next thing, it ended up having them just keep stretching the movie, and they went to go and try to steal and whatever. It's a 4/10 for me. I'm done. It's a 4/10 for me. But again, you should watch it so you see if the rating was bad or not. It's a 4/10 for me. Story was off. Realism was off. I mean, cinematography, we have good cameras now, so I'm not doubting that. They had good cinematographies, but makeups, well, cool, no problem. But the main concept, the story writing, the transition of stories, whatever, 4/10, easy. It wasn't really good at all. And there was a hype on it, actually, but it wasn't what